Mr. Speaker, members of the House, last week the United Mine Workers of America released the results of their investigation into the deadliest coal mine tragedy in 4 decades. The report describes the conditions on April 5, 2010 in the Massey Energy's Upper Big Branch mine that led to a colossal explosion killing 29 miners. It confirms the findings of 2 other independent investigations. In short, Massey's failure to eliminate explosive coal dust throughout the mine converted an otherwise manageable methane fire into a catastrophic explosion. The force of this explosion traveled more than 7 miles underground, destroying everything in its path. Miles of coal belt were decimated, railroad tracks were twisted like pretzels, the massive mining equipment was tossed underground like lawn furniture during a hurricane. The report noted that in 15 months before the explosion, the mine was cited 645 times for violation of mine safety laws. They faced $1.2 million in potential fines. However, rather than improving safety, Massey challenged 3/4 of the fines. And in the months before the explosion, miners had asked that the accumulation of explosive coal dust be addressed 560 times. However, management only responded 65 times. The Upper Big Branch mine was literally a powder keg. The mine workers' investigation concluded that 29 miners died because of corrupt corporate culture that put production ahead of human life. Massey's Energy top management was well aware of the conditions at Upper Big Branch mine. They knew of the mountains of citations for dangerous conditions, but all they had to do was file an appeal to get the federal safety officials to back off. Massey also obstructed mine safety inspections by illegally alerting operations of an inspector on the property so they could cover up any noticeable problems. And management knew that workers were complaining about the conditions below ground. But all Massey had to do was to remind these miners that they were free to find other employment if they continued to speak up. Corporate officers didn't mince words when it came to production over safety. In the Run the Coal memo, CEO Don Blankenship of 2005 told his workers their only concern was to produce coal. The message was clear from the very top: produce coal, disregard safety problems, or find another job. Miners at Upper Big Branch and other Massey mines have told Congress of the investigation of similar stories. To enforce their perverse philosophy, the top management demanded reports every 30 minutes on how much their mines were producing. It is clear that Massey management actively disregarded their workers' health and safety. Unfortunately, the knowingly violation of mandatory health and safety standards is only a misdemeanor, no matter how many miners are killed. This kind of conduct needs to be made a felony, but efforts to increase sanctions have been stifled by the mining industry's lobby. Instead of being held accountable for the decisions that caused 29 deaths, Massey Energy executives got a massive $195 million payout when they sold off their company, according to the United Mine Workers report. Even though Don Blankenship was forced to resign following the Upper Big Branch tragedy, he pocketed $86 million in a golden parachute when 29 of the miners under his jurisdiction and responsibility were killed. If you wonder why people are talking about the 1% and the 99% in the mine had their lives put in danger every day they went to work for Massey. And every day they questioned it, they were threatened with a job loss. But the 1% walked away with $195 million for overseeing one of the most dangerous mining operations in the history of this country. What about the families of the breadwinners of the 99%? They're lost. They lost their breadwinner, they lost their husband, they lost their father, they lost their brother. Now we understand the disparity, why people are occupying Wall Street, why people are occupying hometowns all over the country. We understand this. But we also know that these miners had to simply go to work. This was the job that was available to them, but they were riding roughshod over by Massey. These families are now simply left to pick up the pieces of their shattered lives and may receive scraps later on in some final determination. It's a familiar story in an era where Wall Street companies and executives took big payouts after wrecking the economy. But Massey Energy executives' decisions resulted in the destruction of 29 lives of 29 families. This makes Massey's payout even more disgusting. Massey Energy was recently sold to Alpha Natural Resources. I have been personally assured that these corrupt practices won't reappear with the new owners. However, there are some troubling contradictions that merit a careful watch. Despite stating their intentions to fully cooperate with the government investigations, Alpha has been keeping some senior Massey managers who have invoked their Fifth Amendment rights. and Alpha's recent actions to fight potential pattern of violation sanctions at former Massey mines doesn't set well either. Yet mining is a dangerous job, but not every mining company operates like Massey, nor should we tolerate the Masseys of the coal industry.
Time of the gentleman has expired.